Hi, I'm Anjali. Kindness. And in studio today, we have Rahul Jagtiani, who is many things. I don't know, I don't think one introduction is enough because I think you've been a model, you're an entrepreneur, journalist, and am I missing something? Podcast host, obviously.
Travel show host. Come on.
Yeah, my God, the list is like so. But but you said something very nice on one of your social media posts because we stalked you obviously before you came on the show. But you said you use this term multi-hyphenate where someone mentioned to you, and I think you truly are that. But do you think that is the way to go forward now for the whole world, the way the world is?
I think that's been the way for me since college. When I was in university abroad, I got 2 degrees instead of 1. So I've always been someone who's been interested in more than just one thing. Now, whether it's a boon or curse, I don't know. But it's worked out for me somewhat so far. I'm here. I'm on your podcast. So I think I've made it.
No. And everything else you've done, this is it.
Yeah. No, but like I said, it just stems from having a very curious mind. And perhaps also somewhere I feel like, okay, if this doesn't work out, at least I've got that to fall back upon, things like that. And I feel like we are meant to do more than just one thing. Like you can't box somebody as saying, okay, you're this one person only, right?
Yeah.
So that was the whole industrial era mindset, the factory jobs, the 9-to-5s, and that system. And you go to work, you work for the same company for 40 years, the whole industrial era, and then you get a gold watch at the end of it. I think that era is gone. Right? It's a lot more fluid now. And you could be someone who is doing a podcast, but perhaps you're also interested in finance. Perhaps you're also like baking. So why are we boxing someone in Because, and we have one life. So if you can do more than one thing, then why not, Yeah.
Because we've done multiple things. Oh my God.
Between us, we've had done 30 jobs.
Right.
Me as well. I've been an anchor, been an author. Done many things. I've been a lecturer at some point in my life.
There you go.
Yeah. And my students were actually older than me, but they didn't know it.
So even when I see people in people who work for different companies, right? So you could be working in one sector today, and you could have majored in something completely different in college and studied something else in college. But then you have one job for a few years, and then you can move on to another industry altogether. I know a lot of people who do that. They're in media and then they move on to, let's say, real estate. Now, there's a whole different ecosystem. So maybe they're in a marketing job. Maybe they're doing something slightly different, but a whole different ecosystem. And you learn more about that industry. So as an entrepreneur, why can't we do that, right?
Sure,
or at least branch out or at least test the waters and see what you like, what you don't like.
Yeah, and one should do that because I think life is like, there's so much opportunity firstly, and if you're a person who's curious like you are, and you live in a space where you have so many people who, you're obviously exposed, right? Your occupation, the kind of culture we brought up, like you have that freedom to also do that. I think that's also touchwood been good for us because we had the freedom to explore. Like I want to fly, I wanted to write books,
So there's, there are 2 kinds of people, right? So one is someone like, let's say, a Sachin Tendulkar, who we're going to argue is born to play cricket, right? So at the age of 5, he knows he wants to play cricket and then becomes the greatest of all time. So that's one way to pursue success, right? Nothing wrong with that. But us mere mortals are not Sachin Tendulkar, so we have to keep...
You're anything but a mere mortal, by the way.
Much of a mere mortal as it gets.
You're not mortal. Very fun, I said, no, but I mean, as coming to like doing the multiple things, I think you won Gladrags and you were...
Yeah, that was a lie.
In another life.
It's almost like embarrassed to admit that.
No, what happens? I mean, were you modeling and then did you consider Bollywood? What was the...
No, in a sense that I did model for a couple of years and I did Lakme Fashion Week and I did a bunch of these shows and I shot a few campaigns. My hoardings were all over the place. So it was nice. In hindsight, I felt like I shouldn't have taken it so seriously. I should have just enjoyed it more. But then, it was one of those things where it was pre-YouTube days. So you didn't quite know, okay, there were very limited opportunities and either you crack it or you don't. And the opportunity cost for me was very high, having studied overseas and stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm not quite sure where I fit in. But I'd like to be associated with this space. And maybe I'll revisit this down the line in a manner that, resonates with my sensibility.
Right.
So that's what I did. I was like, a lot of my peers, in fact, some of them have done pretty well. And I think some of them, if I may even admit it, they were better models than I was. Like, I'll take their names. Muzammal was very good in my time. And Rajneesh Dugal, he's also a good-looking guy. And I know these guys. We've worked together at some point. And so they were doing really well in the fashion circuit. And there were very limited opportunities as well. There was one
Being in models, it's generally limited.
It's limited. I knew, I understood the game. And I was like, okay, you know what? There's more I want to do. But, the market is a little different than it was perhaps in the late 90s. And I was like, I like this space. I don't quite know. I'm in my early 20s. I don't know where I fit in. But maybe down the line, I can associate with this space in a manner that resonates with me. And that's exactly what I did. So once I, got in my family business, then I started my own company. Then I started Plush. And then I started doing the travel series and stuff. That's stuff that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And there was an avenue to showcase your work. Right. And so I quite enjoyed that ride, and I know movie stars today who are like, oh man, I'd really like to do something that you've done, travel the world and get paid for it and all that kind of stuff. So no regrets. But that was a very interesting phase. I really enjoyed that because you won't find too many people who've been a male model and also been a journalist with like a financial platform, right?
A male model would ever do.
Yeah, because that ecosystem is very different and the persona is very different, and those guys are a lot more serious and the ones who are on CNBC and stuff, very serious, and they've studied journalism or finance, and I was anything but. I was this wild party kid. So I think I came of age in some sorts as well because I've done both. And it just adds more layers and texture to your life. And I think that's nice.
And while you're hosting now, you must have got so much experience and so much knowledge from so much. You can actually carry your podcast then because your podcast is doing so brilliantly. I've seen so many good.
Yeah, it's decent. Yeah.
No, it is. It is definitely doing brilliant. I saw it. It was very engaging as well. Okay, I want to ask you, how do you get into the travel thing? You always, of course.
So I've always liked to travel. I've always been curious about the world. And I actually started I was working with my family business and I wanted to branch out on my own. And I feel like I put the cart before the horse and I started something in the import and export domain because I wanted to travel and go for trade shows abroad. And for me, that was very glamorous, So I think when I started doing more of that, it just clicked that maybe I should start documenting my work. And I was on a trip to Australia and there's a bit of a personal setback. And I was like, I just need a bit of a break. And I went to Australia and I went backpacking, my first solo trip. And I was on the Great Barrier Reef with Sundays. Most Indians, when they go to Australia, they'll go to Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast, right? So these are four. But now, the Whit Sundays is fairly popular, but perhaps still a lot of people haven't discovered it from our part of the world yet. So I was doing a liveaboard. Liveaboard is when you're living on a boat, you're on the Great Barrier Reef, and you're scuba diving 4 times a day. So I was the only Indian guy. I was with a bunch of Europeans, Aussies, Kiwis, and beautiful view. And I was like, this is really cool. And I had a BlackBerry phone at the time. And in the good old BlackBerry days, right? And this is like, I think 2012-ish. And I was like, my company's called Plush Plaza. Let me call this Plush Places. Haha, And I just made a crappy little video. It's still on my YouTube channel. It's a 1.5 minutes. And, but yeah, that's how I kind of started. And I just fell in love with the process. So every time I travel for work, I upgraded to an iPhone then and then started filming stuff and then get better gear and then to the point where I started working with tourism boards. There was a commercial angle to it and I had the budget to take a crew along and do it professionally.
Right.
And did that for a bit, but then it was poised to like really take off. And then COVID happened and there was a bit of a bummer. And then you get into different things, you outgrow certain things as well. Okay, that phase is, I'll probably do something slightly different. I still love what I do. I love travel. But I feel like too many influencers have come into the space this way. Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to do what a 25-year-old is doing. I want to have a different voice, a different perspective. So I think that space has gotten a bit cluttered. So I want to do something a bit more different where I feel like the experience that I've got, and hopefully with a little bit more gravitas, I'm able to communicate and share my point of view and my take on things in a different manner.
Of course. Yeah, but like social media, coming to social media, I think what's happened in recent years especially with like the Gen Zs and millennials, everyone is seeing people travel all the time.
Yeah.
So it ends up giving you FOMO.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the office and you see someone sitting on the beach in Maldives or whatever. So, but do you think that like it's actually made people reckless where they're like, oh, just, travel, live your life and like, we'll see zindagi na milegi dobara. But actually young people are not saving as much as they should because everyone is traveling much more than their parents' generation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what do you think about?
Look, parents' generation, at least my parents, it was different times. You're a Sindhi, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that time it was about just making life work, right? And I feel like they sacrificed so much and they did a lot of things, or they didn't do a lot of things so we could. So I appreciate that. But having said that, yes, people are reckless. People are spending a lot of money. There is this whole YOLO culture. There is this whole Instagram culture where you have to show. I mean, if you haven't shown it on Instagram, have you even done it? You haven't really.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Does it even count if it's not on Instagram, right? So there is that culture. People are now taking loans, like they're traveling on an EMI as well. So
Where's leading? I mean,
these are salaried couples where they're like, you know what, just spend 7-8 lakh rupees. I don't want to spend it all at once. I'll take a loan and I'll pay it off with my salary over the course of the next year, 2 years, whatever that period is. So of course that is happening, yeah. And
that's okay, because sometimes you feel like, abhi nahi karenge to kab? Yeah, I can just where our children are, before we have kids, we'll do this.
Yeah, pros and cons. Okay. Yeah. Like you can't be someone who's like, oh, I'll do it when I'm 60 and you don't know if you're going to make it till 60.
When I'm on my second hip surgery,
But also I think that comes with, as you get older, you realize you have to be financially also wise.
You have to be wise, and the way things are going, I think the world is divided, or it already is, but it's even more down the road. It's going to be divided into those who hold assets and those who don't. That's as simple as that, right? So it depends which side of the equation you want to be on. Investing is super important. I know I'm sounding like an uncle right now.
I realized that hard way in my, maybe too late, like I started it earlier because I had that approach in my 20s. Like,
I think we all do. You know what? I think we all do. I think there's a period when you can be a little bit more reckless. And but perhaps if there's some way one can balance it out, that's great.
I didn't save at all, like flying you would expect, right? She's going to pay money now. I mean, flying for so many years, eating out.
Financial education as well. I still know a lot of people who don't save, or rather, it's not just saving. If you're just saving, then you're sitting on melting ice cubes. You have to be investing, So investing is really important. But also... yeah, it's important to also travel. So if you have the means, I would definitely say travel, and it need not be super expensive necessarily. I've done some expensive trips, and but you don't have to do that. You can go to a lot of other cheap places. You can backpack. You can slum it out in your 20s. I've slummed it out as well occasionally here and there. So you've got couch surfing and so many things that if you really want to do, you can do it. If you really want to make it work, I mean, some of these places overseas are cheaper than India, like Southeast Asia. It's cheaper than traveling in India. I hate to say it, but Bombay Delhi ticket sometimes is more expensive than a Mumbai Bangkok ticket or a Mumbai Singapore. There you go, right?
Have you done a lot of India though?
I actually haven't done a lot of India. I wanted to travel overseas, So for me, I was like, and I wanted to travel west. Good infrastructure, good, all of that. I didn't want to travel to another poor country, and but I used to go a lot for business as well. So like I've been to China 20 times, Hong Kong 20 times, right? So sometimes it's not just the number of countries. It's like, okay, you're traveling for business and you do that 2-3 times a year and you're done. I mean, how much more do you want to, But then I would travel for my travel series as well.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah. What's your favorite favorite city? Like what? I mean, it's silly to ask one or two favorite places where you felt deeply connected to. Because sometimes you go to a place and like, you know what? Yeah, this is me. Like, this is somewhere I feel like.
See, I mean, favorite city in terms of comfort level, a London, New York. There's a certain comfort level with that because we know a lot of people there, and that's kind of like high on everyone's list. Even when someone first starts traveling, these countries are typically, first names, right? So I'm not going to count that. In terms of interesting places, I'll say Antarctica has been really interesting for me because it's, the last great, the last great wilderness on Earth, the white continent, as they call it. And so that was a trip of a lifetime. And I'm so glad I got to do it. I really liked my experience I'd gone to the north of Sweden and in the Lapland region, and I'd gone during summer. And we stayed in this village where there were 300 people, luxury sort of, boutique kind of place. And we stayed in tree houses and we cooked reindeer meat and we could drink the water from the river. And it was like a Monet painting. The moment you look out of your window, it was like a Monet painting. It was that quiet and peaceful and beautiful, and you're one with nature. And we, I had lunch with the Sami tribe, the local tribe there. We built our own little wooden raft and we just glided down the river. And then we picnicked in the cabin, in the woods, that quintessential European. So I really liked that experience. It was me, it was a German guy, a Romanian girl, and an Irish girl. So 4 of us, we were traveling together. And that was a fantastic experience. Another place that I really enjoyed, because I like geopolitics, I went to Israel and Palestine.
What was that like?
I was actually not supposed to go to Palestine. Nobody can just go to Palestine. I went to the West Bank. I would have loved to go to Gaza, but I think it was hard to. I would have cracked it if I was there for more time. I actually went to Israel for a conference, and I ended up skipping the conference because I met a journalist and I got a chance to go to Palestine. So I was like, screw the conference, man. It's the same shit. It'll keep happening. This is once. And I wanted to go there because again, I'm curious, but I also wanted to break my own stereotypes, I wanted to see what it's like. You have some preconceived notions on what that region is like. I wanted to go and talk to people. I had lunch at a local Palestinian's house. I went to this very interesting place called Hebron. The city is divided into two, and one can argue that's the epicenter of the conflict. And one half is Israelis, and the other half is Palestinian, and they can't cross over. They'll probably get shot. You can't cross over. So it was a very politically charged tour where you get a Palestinian perspective in the first half, then you have lunch, and then you get the Jewish perspective or the Israeli perspective in the second half, So I've quite enjoyed these sort of things, and of course, China, because I've been there a bunch of times for business, is just fantastic. Like, keep the politics aside, I'm interested in how they function, how they think, how efficient they are, and what they've done to the country in terms of their infrastructure and how they operate and how they're the factory of the world, And they're just fun. I'm very impressed by them and their cities as well, the ones that I've seen.
So it's more like rural sightseeing. Is it also culture that's drawing you a lot, which I kind of usually from
sightseeing.
Sightseeing, of course,
is great. There's
like
more to travel
stuff
than taking a selfie in front of some monument, right?
So it's like you want to
you can do that with AI now. You don't even need to go there.
Yeah, so it's all about like living with people or experience the people, inside.
It's people. I want to see what makes you tick. I want to talk to you. I want to get a different perspective of the world from you. How you think, how you view the world. And that is very interesting to me. And I feel like one shouldn't judge people by the politics of their countries. So no matter what part of the world you're from, like I studied in the US, I had friends from Pakistan as well. Right? And, politics is there. We support our country. And one can have a view on that. And it's controversial. But if you go to Dubai, you'll meet tons of Pakistanis, right?
People, you'll connect. That's what travel.
People are people. Now, like every place, some people are not so nice, some people are nice. But generally, I've noticed that, people just want to be left by themselves. They want a peaceful life and they want a better life for their future generations, right? For their kids and so on. And people are just nice. So on a one-to-one
level, basis, actually, it is true.
Nice.
Because we just compartmentalize everybody.
So whether you're in the US, whether you're in the Middle East, whether you're in China, people are just people. And I've done business with a lot of these people, in China and Europe. And so everyone's a little different, but everyone's nice, I would say.
And all the business perspective, since you are into that, what is your take on the difference between Indians and the other countries? Like, because I've heard, like, we have a different way of our business always conducted more differently than
the Chinese are super efficient. They'll be sending me WhatsApp messages at 1 a.m. asking for business.
She sent you messages at the also.
No, so they're efficient. Europeans, I feel like they take it very easy. They're on vacation half the time. Yeah. They're like, okay, I was doing business with this one French guy, but they were manufacturing in China. And I asked him, okay, when am I going to get this? Because I have to deliver some goods here. And he's like, I don't know. I'm off for the next 6 weeks. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I can't sleep here, like so I had to like fly there and really like cajole the team to delivering on time. Yeah, I was like, boss, I mean, I have money stuck here, yeah. So I had to do this. So I feel like they're taking it very. Americans are again, boom, 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 like very to the point, very hardcore business. They are very, yeah.
But what's the crazy incident that you remember when you're traveling? Something really like weird that's happened to you, which you never expected. You must have lots of stories. Like weird is the funniest thing. You can say something. What is your weirdest thing? Because I've got so many when I travel. Like I've got of course, I've got a lot of passenger stories, which are like one worse than the other.
I just humor myself because I travel alone so often. So you just find funny moments. You create funny moments to humor yourself. Wait, so you're talking about a funny moment?
It's like a funny accident, funny story, weird story, something that.
Wait, so that's another question. You travel alone, you said. So are you single? Let's talk. Let's fight.
That's why I travel alone.
Yeah, this is for research purposes for our female viewers.
Yeah, that's why I travel alone. Yeah, it's nice. You can pick up your bags and go wherever you want, whenever you want. So yeah.
But so we have to know that have you ever had one of those like meet cute like travel stories where you met someone on a
Of course.
Yeah. And
Every trip.
so that's why so you can meet them.
No, so if only I had a nickel for every time someone said that I want to travel with you when you're doing your travel show. You get that, oh, your travel show, I want to travel with you. If only I had a nickel for every time someone said that, I'd probably have 20 nickels.
Only 20? I doubt it.
No,
I think there are more than 20 nickels.
No, but I tell them, look, when I'm going on a shoot, I'm focused. I'm working 16-hour days. I have a lot of pressure. So I'm starting work at 6 a.m. because I'm also connected to my office here. So I'm up and I'm wired. And then my day ends at midnight. So it's a long day and there's shoots and what am I going to wear and this and what I have to say and continuity and making sure the footage is, dumped later at the end of the day. And,
like
takes 2
look
hours.
at the glamorous bit of it.
There's a lot of work. It's with the
You have
cameraman.
your team with you, right?
When I had my team with me, it's you're basically, because I was also passionate about capturing as much. And I'm with the cameraman and we're trying to capture that sunlight, that shot. So what's that called? That montage shot. Jeez, I'm blanking out.
It's okay. You can be a blanking on Vixie is blanking on looking at my who's
It's your mesmerizing.
Yeah.
No. It's just, come on. Oh, your mesmerizing eyes. Yes. I thought you said my. Okay.
No, but But I did want to ask you, as much as you said it's not about list, but how many countries have you actually done? And you have a.
I actually just recorded a video on that. I don't even know how many countries I've done because it's not about the number of countries. It's about. But it's like I said, it's not about the number of countries. It's about the people you met and the conversations you've had and how each trip has changed you. So for me, it's not about the number of countries, because sometimes I'm traveling maybe for business to the same country, but you can have a whole different experience traveling to a different part of the country, like a country like India, right? So you can do your Bombay, or you can do your, Jaipur, Agra, Delhi, but then there's the Northeast, and then you can't do it all in the same trip. And there's South, and there's so many other parts, right? I mean, there's Kashmir, there's Coorg, and there's Northeast. There's a whole different ball game. So there's so many places. Like, you need like 10 trips within India to even understand India. And that includes me as well. People who are from here as well, right? There's so much we don't know.
So much that we don't know.
So for me, like I said, it's not so much about the countries. It's about the destinations and the place itself, and what you've learned and what's your takeaway from every place. Yeah.
But what is one underrated country that you think Indians are not, like, ignoring, and they should actually, also, like, it's beautiful. Yeah, like a country that is just gone under the radar.
I like Austria very much. And I feel like because there are no direct flights, because some of the Western counterparts like France, Switzerland, Germany, they do a very good job marketing themselves. Austria, in my opinion, is very underrated. I've been to Austria like 3 times. I've loved it every single time. The people are wonderful. I guess it's a bit cheaper than the rest of Western Europe. And gone there like skiing. That's beautiful. Food is nice. Everything just works. Everything's great. It's as European as it gets. And good concerts. Vienna is a lovely city, for classical music and concerts and stuff. So yeah, that's a place I'd probably recommend, people to go more often if they can. Yeah.
But so you grew up in Mumbai, right?
Yeah.
I think, as we were saying, because everyone is so excited to explore the world, sometimes we ignore our own city. But what are your favorite places to go in Mumbai? So if someone had to spend one day in Mumbai, what would you recommend to eat, shop?
In Mumbai? She's not so much, yeah.
Mumbai is not Bandra or Mumbai. If you ask me, I only know 5 10 Bandra. They all the same usual, yeah.
Look, South Mumbai has more culture. So South Mumbai is definitely nice. There's the whole Kala Ghoda walk and the art walks. I like open spaces, because I feel like all 5 senses are always on high alert in a place like Bombay. So I like open spaces. So this new little park that you're making with the coastal road or whatever is very welcome. Bandra is nice, but it's very crowded now, and I feel like it's a bit of a video game, because you get into this lane and you realize digging it up, and then you go somewhere else.
Our whole road is dug up. Yeah.
For me, and this is in most cities, for me, the beauty of a place lies outside this main cities, because the main cities, and I'm going to be honest, Bombay also works because you live in a bit of a bubble. You're going from one place to the other. So it just kind of works. Otherwise, honestly, for the common man, it's a bit of a nightmare. And infrastructure, the number of people, the crumbling infrastructure. I think we are not building great infrastructure, barring 1 or 2 projects.
Yeah.
It's
the inside part of it is like, ISSB doing all these big things, like, these big, which is great, coastal roads, freeways. But what's inside, like if you actually walk through even the area that we are, like there's no pavement. You're dodging cars.
And you'll make a road and you'll break it 3 months later. There's no coordination. So that's something that's regretful. I just wish if they're building it, then they build it in the first world fashion and not in a third world fashion where you keep digging up the same thing again and again. And I mean, we know what's happening, but I mean, what can we say? And it's frustrating, because you go out and you see that life is so much better. I mean, Mumbai is nice too.
Yeah, but I know.
Again, if you're in a bubble.
In a bubble. Only if you're in a bubble. That's the... Yeah.
But our podcast is called Main Character Energy. Yeah. So we wanted to ask you, what does that mean for you? Like, what do you think of when someone says main character energy?
Being confident, being focused on yourself, and being the hero of your own journey. That's what it means, main character energy. Yeah. Not too perturbed by what's happening around you, what he's doing or what she's doing, not comparing. And just living your life the best way you can, and doing everything that you really want to set out to do, and having your own bucket list of things, however crazy they are, and striking them off one by one. And there's no one path to happiness or success. There are many paths, and maybe you want to arrive there in a different manner than I do, and maybe what you want to do in life is very different from what I want to do in life. So just being true to yourself. And in this age of social media, there's a lot of comparison. There's a lot of, okay, this is what I should be doing. He's doing this, she's doing. But just sticking to your own goals, learning and unlearning, learning more about yourself, and also unlearning, the ideas that you've put in your head or someone else has put into your head. And realizing what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, doubling down on your strengths, focusing on that, and just being as uniquely you as you can. That's main character energy.
See, it's a lovely answer. Yeah. So when we ask people, like, they're usually that. Like, what gets explained, and then he have given the whole explanation. Oh. Now, when he said, what did like yes, how can like a true main character? Yeah. And
that comes with
offshore host, and he's an amazing travel blogger and traveling and everything. Yeah, so he's so now that's the fun. I was looking at the fun. So I already got a phone. I was drunk.
No, please.
That's why we're looking at the fun because
no, I look at my phone all the time.
First, I don't find it.
Just to have to tell you, when we were deciding to start this podcast, one of the main reasons for Khanna's was so that she could get interesting men on this. No, it wasn't. Yeah, she was like before you.
It's my pleasure. I don't know how interesting I am, but I'm actually quite boring. I'm quite boring, but I'm super boring.
Or just listening to your stories, I think no, you can say you're super boring.
I have got as much.
Oh no, now, but I'm sure there was a time when you went out a lot. Even we have stopped going out as much as we did.
I'm sure to go out.
Yeah. No, I start veering towards like serious topics and stuff. Geeky. I can be a bit of a geek at times. Let's put it that way.
A geek, right? But yeah, women love it. Oh my gosh.
So he says hi on, yeah. So actually we should ask you. So for us, obviously intelligent men, it's like a great, it's something you look for. But what do you look for in women? Generally, it's like what are the things you look for?
I like people who are warm. So I mean, barring the good looks and all of that, I feel like the energy is important. Intelligence, yes. I mean, you have to be able to connect on an intellectual level as well. Otherwise, it can get very boring very quickly. But I generally, I mean, you could be intelligent, you could be good looking, but I feel like if you don't exude warmth, that's not something that's very attractive to me. And so if someone's warm and nice to talk to and pleasant to talk to, I think that's just things just flow from there, for me.
Yeah. So which country are the women according to most attractive? I won't say beautiful, most attractive.
Most attractive.
Definitely not India.
No, Indian women are very, very pretty. Eh?
Like a very gorgeous. Yeah,
I'd say Lebanese women are very, very attractive. Lebanese women are pretty attractive. Israeli women are also pretty attractive. If you go to like Tel Aviv and stuff, everyone's going out. Everyone's beautiful. You have the beach. But it's not just about attractive. It's also how you carry yourself. Was that?
They're not dressed. That's the point. No.
Well dressed. Beach attire. Yeah, sexy beach attire. Yeah. Where else? Look, I like American women as well. I mean, because I studied there, so yeah. At least when I was there, I mean, I was in Virginia, and lots of pretty southern girls in Virginia. Yeah.
You must miss that, no? Like I was like stuck in it.
No.
You have us now, so you're like, oh my God, where from where to where?
I just laugh. I'm like, complimenting yourself, like whatever, whether you.
Yeah, you more than make up for it.
So, but it's like, you prefer a woman approaching you or hold you? Like, if a woman does that, do you think she's brave or do you think, no, that's the.
It's 2025, almost 2026. Please approach me. They're not approaching me enough.
Oh gosh, really?
Yeah, bummer. Nobody likes me. Yeah.
You want me to make you feel better?
Oh, no.
No, I think after this podcast, you have a lot of probably messages.
No.
I don't know it.
Yeah.
I don't know it.
No, nobody approaches me. Honestly, nobody approaches me.
Okay.
I'm a bit of a geek at times, like I said.
In the moment, I'm not mentioned.
Yeah, she's
And
that too. Just once at a
I
cafe.
approached it, by the way, I approached him and I said, hey, we loved it.
I'm a little shy. Yeah. So even if they approach me, I don't know.
you Bougie, what? Oh yeah,
Bougie,
okay.
yeah.
So I remember that when you just came in, right? No, I didn't know how we look. I mean, I've seen your videos, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And the moment I'm like, and the moment you left, you must have heard laughter. I don't know when you left. I don't know if you heard it. So she was here. I was like, I saw it.
You're giving me too much credit.
Clearly, you don't have any filters on this podcast.
That's okay. That's fine, right?
Too much credit, but thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Good looks are like the main thing of our show. And just for the record, it wasn't me on. You wanted the show also, so that we made the losing man. Yeah, of course. Then you.
But in general, so do you think actually that men don't receive as many compliments as they should? Do you think that
Some men do. I mean, these movie stars do.
if you have followed the modeling and Bollywood?
Yeah. If only, right? Yeah. Sliding doors. Yeah.
Listen, traveler, you make many more than
Yes, that's true. At that licenses and know what to look. Everything is like, what happens in a different city stays in a different industry, right?
That's true. That's true.
Oh, yeah. See? I know I've been flying, so I know how everybody loves it.
But you probably have, your stories are probably a lot wilder than mine.
Story, it's the right time. It's my book. It was my memoir of my life. It was a flight journey and my single. What are you telling me about non-promoting our pals?
Juicewala. Oh, that's your name. Jasawala has become Juicewala.
That's why we need a smart man on a show.
To get it.
Yeah. I was gonna say Bawi Juicewala, yeah?
Give it time. Let's
This is you authors fight eventually. So soak that in and then you
Oh, awesome.
also give you my book.
19 till I die. Awesome.
So yeah.
So that is me on the cover by these very slim version of me. And
You look the same, yeah? Yeah, you look slimmer. You look slimmer now. I was like, have you lost weight? Just yesterday, a friend asked me, when's the last time you read a book by a female author?
See?
And I'd read a non-fiction book, but now I can show off. And I'm like, I've got 2 new books by these ace female authors, and there you go. Slam them on your face, and there you go. Yeah, but this is awesome. Yeah, congratulations. So you guys are multi-hyphenate as well. You're podcasters, you've been a flight attendant, and you're an author as well. So yeah, kudos.
in fact, do you ever come to Magna for after your show at Mr. He won, no? Mr.
You and Grayson,
That right.
Gladrags he won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever come to Magna to the Stardust office? Because
As a struggler,
no, I do remember because now
me from 20 years ago.
I would remember.
Yeah.
So I was like, I remember everyone. Like we did Milan, we did Arjun. You did Milan. You did Arjun. No,
You had a good life.
I didn't want. No, not Milan.
Uh-huh.
Arjun. Milan is so good.
Milan and Arjun are the OGs. Actually,
Yeah.
That
But
generation.
then Gautam Kapoor, Gomzi, and then
Gomzi, yes, of course. Gomzi, if you watch this, Gomzi, I know Gomzi. Gomzi, if you watch this, shout out to you.
by the way.
No, I don't know. He's not. I'll introduce you to Gomzi. Yeah, it's like fine. No, I feel like that whole generation, everybody was unique in their own way, and post I think 2003, 2004. That's around when I was, I got in. I think everybody just, even now, like, you don't know who the models are. Everyone's just a clone. I don't even know what a model is, right?
that was a supermodel era, basically, which is
Much older than you, though. They're much older.
They're much older than me, yes. Much older than me. I know some of them. I don't know all of them.
No, but they really set the bar high.
Yeah.
Like women were like we actually there was no social media, right? This was like everything that we could do.
yes.
I remember that when I was writing, like we had this lucky way to go and meet all these guys and then say, remove your t-shirt and wear your t-shirt.
I hope I don't have to do that now, yeah? I just had a heavy lunch. Yeah.
Proud to say that. But speaking about coming back to this travel and all of that. So these days, obviously, there's a lot of influencers, as you mentioned. But are there any younger influencers that like you actually really enjoy their content and you think they're doing a great job? Where it's not just, about like, oh, look, I'm here, but actually getting into the patch of place.
I don't. Why you want to know other influencers? It's him.
Yeah, it's about me. It's not
It's
about
all
other
about him.
influencers.
It's all about
Yeah.
him and us. We influencers are doing a good job.
There are a few who are doing a great job. They have a great following, so obviously they're doing something right. But like I said, because I'm slightly older, I want a slightly different perspective, and the perspective that I want to offer is different from what they're offering. And I've been there, done that as well. And mine was actually more of like a TV show format. So I'm actually not very good at digital. I need to learn from them. Because I grew up more in the whole TV thing. So I feel like someone who's 25 has that pulse on digital better than I do. So they're doing a fantastic job, but there are a whole host of them from whom I feel like I can learn and I can up my game. Yeah.
Well, they are one team and a whole thing going for them. It's just like, it's not only the individual, right? Like, it's just like,
But there's some that stand out with their amazing heart.
See, it's also a phase in life when you can be a little bit more footloose and fancy free. And I feel like I did that in my 30s as well. And if you're like even younger, then, if you have some financial security, then you can, by all means, go all out, do it,
What about your podcast? What is your future in models? What do you think that who would like to interview next? Like, who was your person I really want to get your name on the show?
There's a whole list, actually. There's a whole bunch that I want to get, from sports people to Bollywood to even politicians, right? So I want the whole hog because I feel like podcasting is also a journey for me where I get to learn so much from people who I interview. And if I am getting to interview some of these fine gentlemen and women as well, I get to have different conversations on different subjects. So I started off with travel, but, my podcast hasn't just been about 5 fun things to do in Destination X. It's about culture. It's about the intersection of travel with geopolitics, business, culture, sport. So in fact, the last 3-4 podcasts I've done have been very inspiring for me, and I feel like I've learned a lot from my guests as well. So yeah, there's a whole list. It's too long. My wish list is too long, but so across spectrums, I'd like to interview a bunch of people because I feel like I get to learn so much from them as well.
So it's all about learning for you. Like, I think ever since we've been, this is what I take away from the show as well, that you love learning and about other people.
I told you I was a bit of a geek, which is why nobody approaches me.
But learning, one should continue learning, of course.
Yeah, you're not a geek at all, but if you call yourself a geek, we love geek. We love a hot geek.
Yeah.
How can I say?
Main character geek.
Totally.
Yeah.
But, along with being, a podcaster, you're also, of course, an entrepreneur. And these days, I think, for especially the young, it's actually pretty inspiring that you see a lot of these 20-year-olds and everyone's starting their brands and, all of that is happening. So what is something that you want to give as a piece of advice to anyone who wants to start their business and become an entrepreneur?
Unless you're funded by somebody else, keep your unit economics in place, and you don't always need funding. People are now equating entrepreneurship with being a funded company because they see the success story of some of these guys who've done wonderfully well, right? But not being funded also gives you some freedom, and not every funded company makes it, hits it out of the park.
Correct.
So I feel like make your mistakes on your own as much as you can as well. And if you're like me, if you're multi-hyphenate, then probably nobody will want to put money on you because you're like, okay, he's doing this also, that also.
More that happens, actually does happen.
So there's a certain freedom that comes with being an entrepreneur in the sense that there's a responsibility, but there's also some freedom where I can, do things in a manner that I want to do. I'm not the best example of an entrepreneur. There are so many more successful entrepreneurs, but I feel like whatever business you're doing, try and solve a problem. And get your unit economics right, no matter whatever product or service that you're selling. And learn AI. I guess that's for everyone, right? Learn
It's
AI
always something. I was you learn something and then there's something new. You're like, oh my
You
gosh.
have to keep learning.
Yeah.
And I think I'm sure you're a good entrepreneur because Cindy, it has to be. I feel like I missed that gene, business gene, but no, maybe
You're not bad, huh? At least.
cover it.
Yeah. You're not bad at all.
You have a lot of business ideas, but it's exactly that because you've been so.
See, ideas are plenty. Execution is important, and then when I'm juggling 3 or 4 balls in the air, and occasionally I'm going to drop more than occasionally.
I was
Actually,
going to ask you that: are you considering do you sometimes feel like I should just not do this one thing anymore, or
it's crossed my mind. Sometimes you wonder about the road not taken. And you're like, what if I was just that one guy focused on one thing for 25 years of my life? But then that's not me. So why even go down that path? But yes, I mean, someone like myself is juggling multiple balls in the air, and yes, maybe for a certain period of time, one aspect will not, get as much attention and may not do as well as the other. But it's just part of doing multiple things, and it's okay, Everyone in their own way is just trying to wing it, man. So just don't take so seriously.
No, but it's so refreshing to hear that because I think you're right, but things have changed now and people are much more accepting of this. Because I have been in job interviews where the person would look at your CV, they be like, we've done so many things and they hold that against you. But I've also had people who seen that as an advantage and they're like, clearly you can adapt and you can do different things and that's good.
To me, I think that's a huge advantage because you can, you've been in multiple industries, you've tasted different things. So yeah, that's depending on the kind of role you're looking for, I mean, I see this as a huge advantage. And I feel like nowadays, the lifespan of businesses is a lot more shortened than it was in the past because with AI and this and that people need to keep adapting. So you have to keep being nimble and keep pivoting. Yeah. And it need not be a huge pivot. It can probably be like these 1 degree shifts, there's 1 degree pivot where you need to, maybe adapt slightly more till you get this right. And then the market changes and you're okay, I need to, pivot slightly more and adjust. So I think the ability to stay nimble and to pivot and to recognize trends is also important. Sorry, I don't know why I was going with that thought, but I think it's a huge plus if you.
No, it is.
There
is. I think the future is for people.
You ain't talking. I'm just looking.
She's.
She's.
No, also, there's another school of thought. Now, this maybe if you're a doctor or something, but you're also another school. If you're too specialized and if there's just one source of income, then you're also susceptible to disruption, right? If the business model changes or, I think a few years ago, I met somebody who had a language translation app, right? Or a language translation business. And that was doing pretty well up until, I think, 2019, 2020, and that business is gone. I mean, with AI, you don't even need that. I feel like I don't need to hire as many people because AI does a lot of the heavy lifting for you in many ways, right? So if you needed 10 people earlier, you probably need 4 people now. So it's good to be, I think everyone is becoming an entrepreneur as well. And it's hard to stick around in one gig for too long. And because people want to keep jumping and experimenting, especially the Gen Z. And on the other hand, I feel like they're also kind of forced to do multiple things.
Yeah.
Because everyone with inflation and everything, you do need more than income sometimes.
Means of income, and it can be a big advantage. So use it to your advantage. Okay. Sure. So I think as much as we could keep chatting, and I think you're obviously so you have so much knowledge on so many topics. But I think we should probably end this year. What to? Okay, we could keep talking, but he's been sick. I think for a long time, 40 minutes ho gaya, 40 minutes wait.
Yeah.
But no, so I think we want to just end this by saying thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Lovely having you.
My pleasure.
She wanted to do the Rahul Anjali joke. By the way, I told her, please do not kill the podcast before it starts.
Have to. Anjali Ramos, I can cover.
I met Rahul and I'm Anjali. I'm like, there are.
It's only the most common.
You scream Rahul and 6 guys will turn around right now in this building.
True story. But not as good looking as.
Better looking.
There is. How can there be anyone better
Better,
looking in
better.
this building at least? But you know what?
Come on, we're in Andheri, yeah.
There is a gym
Everybody's
here.
a model here.
You know, there's a gym here which
There's
all
plenty
the
of good-looking guys here, I'm
yeah,
sure.
this is the gym all TV actors come to. There's a gold gym, but
There you
it's
go.
now different.
I'm sure there are lots of handsome TV actors.
Let's call streaky raps.
No, this is a true story. I walked into a bar. This is a few years ago. I walked into a bar and there were 6 Rahuls and we all got a photo together. So there's a joke. Man walks into a bar, screams Rahul, 6 Rahuls line up. It's actually a joke. You know?
Actually happened to me when I went to Greece, where we met. Everyone we met was called George. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's such a comedy. So we're like George number 1, George
Yeah.
number 2, and that.
George the Fourth.
Yeah, we would just scream George and it's our return. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah. Pleasure being on your show. This is a lot of fun for me as well.
It was a lot of fun for us. We could ask more questions, but maybe when you get to know you a little better, I think I'll get more involved.
When the questions more probing. Yeah, no, we are always happy to have a good looking man.
Yeah, we loved having you on the pod.
And yeah, look forward to watching the final cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Can you put the part which is and actually always show this to around that the video.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
No, it's
Appreciate it.
nothing. It's just something very small, but thanks a ton for being on the show.
My
That's
pleasure.
really nice.
And
Nice
yeah,
to
look
see you.
forward
Nice
to
to
doing
meet
more
you.
of this.
Yeah.
Hope- wish your podcast all the best. And
Yours too, I'm sure
Thank
yours
you.
will like anyway, it's so brilliant and you're doing such a great job.
Still early days, but we'll see how it goes.
You ask intelligent questions, which is
Yeah.
really nice,
Yeah.
which is really good.
Good, you noticed that.
Of course I did. I noticed all just like, okay.
Yeah. So that's what separates me from the some of these actors and models.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
That is your USP because you got both.
A intersection B.
Yes.